I always knew visiting mom at work would end badly. As a hospital administrator, she insisted on weekly family dinners in her office, calling it maintaining our image. But that Thursday night, our perfect family image shattered, along with several of my bones. I was running late, which already put my sister Diana on edge. She'd been the perfect daughter for 26 years, working as a resident in the same hospital, following mom's footsteps. I, on the other hand, chose art therapy, a constant disappointment to our status-conscious family. Finally, Sophia. Diana's voice echoed through the empty sixth-floor corridor. Mom's been asking about you for the past hour. I adjusted my paint-stained jacket, feeling underdressed as usual next to her pristine white coat. Sorry, I had a session with a trauma patient that ran long. Playing with crayons isn't a real therapy session, she sneered, falling into our usual pattern. I bit back a retort, remembering Mom's constant plea, just keep the peace with your sister. If only I'd known those words would soon take on a darker meaning. We reached the stairwell. The elevator was under maintenance. Diana insisted on walking behind me, claiming she needed to answer a text. I should have noticed her unusual insistence, should have seen the signs. But 3 years of gaslighting had taught me to doubt my instincts. Halfway down, between the 5th and 4th floors, I felt it. A hard shove between my shoulder blades. There was no mistaking it for anything else. Diana's hands planted firmly on my back, pushing with deliberate force. Time slowed as I fell forward. I remember thinking how quiet it was, how the fluorescent lights created strange shadows on the walls. Then came the impacts. Head, ribs, arm, head again. Each collision with the stairs sent shockwaves through my body. I heard Diana's voice, oddly calm, calling out, "Oh my God." Sophia tripped. "Someone help." Then darkness. I woke up 3 days later in the ICU. The first thing I saw was Mom's worried face, not the concerned mother of an injured daughter, but the hospital administrator dealing with a potential scandal. "Sweetheart," she whispered, gripping my hand too tightly. "You need to listen carefully. You tripped and fell down the stairs. That's what happened. That's what you'll tell everyone." My head was foggy from medication, but I knew that wasn't right. "Diana," she pushed me. "No." Mom's voice was sharp. "Your sister would never do that. She's been beside herself with worry. You were texting while walking down the stairs. It was an accident." Dad appeared on my other side, his face stern. "Think about your sister's career, Sophia. One accusation like this could ruin her future. She's about to become chief resident." I wanted to argue, to tell them about the deliberate force I felt on my back, but years of conditioning kicked in. I stayed quiet as they crafted the narrative. What they didn't know was that someone else had already started unraveling their carefully constructed story. Nurse Olivia Martinez had been watching the security footage, trying to document the time of my accident for the incident report. But what she found made her dig deeper. She discovered something my family never expected. Cameras didn't just show my fall. They showed 3 years' worth of accidents involving Diana and me in various hospital locations. The push into the closing elevator door's last party, the accidental collision with a supply cart in the parking garage, the coffee spill that left second-degree burns, all caught on camera, all followed by family meetings where I was convinced I was clumsy, paranoid, attention-seeking. While I lay in that hospital bed, Nurse Martinez was compiling evidence that would blow apart our family's perfect facade. "Your parents want you to confirm it was an accident," she said during a late-night vitals check, her voice low but firm. "But I've seen the footage. All of it." I felt tears sliding down my face. "They'll never believe me. They never have." She squeezed my hand gently. "They don't have to believe you. The cameras caught everything. The only question is, are you ready to stop covering for them?" Looking at my reflection in the window, face bruised, arm in a cast, ribs wrapped tight, I made a decision. Years of accidents flashed through my mind, each one explained away by my parents, each one making Diana more confident in her actions. "Show me the footage," I whispered. Nurse Martinez nodded, pulling out a tablet. "Warning, what you're about to see might change your family forever." "My family changed a long time ago," I replied. "I just didn't want to see it." As she pulled up the first video, I realized this wasn't just about one fall down the stairs. It was about years of systematic abuse hidden behind medical credentials and family reputation. And for the first time, I had proof. The security footage played on Nurse Martinez's tablet, each clip more damning than the last. 3 years of accidents unfolded in stark black and white, showing Diana's calculated patterns. She always made sure to strike in camera blind spots, with the before and after footage told the real story. "There's more," Nurse Martinez said, pulling up hospital records. "Every time you were admitted, your mother redirected the case to specific doctors, ones who wouldn't ask too many questions." My hands trembled as I scrolled through my own medical history. Concussions, sprains, burns, all documented with the same vague explanations. Patient reports accidental fall. Patient unclear about incident details. "Why didn't anyone notice?" I whispered. They did. Nurse Martinez showed me a series of flagged reports from various staff members, all mysteriously buried or dismissed. "Your mother has considerable influence here, but she couldn't erase the security footage." A soft knock interrupted us. Diana stood in the doorway, wearing her practiced look of concern. Nurse Martinez quickly tucked away the tablet. "How's my favorite patient?" Diana's voice dripped with fake sweetness. She moved to adjust my IV, but Nurse Martinez stepped forward. "I'll handle that," she said firmly. "Hospital policy, family members shouldn't treat their own relatives." Diana's eyes narrowed slightly. "I'm her doctor of record." "Not anymore," Nurse Martinez replied. "The case has been transferred to Dr. Anderson." I watched my sister's facade crack slightly. "On whose authority?" "Mine." Dr. Sarah Anderson appeared behind Diana, chart in hand. "We need to discuss some irregularities in Sophia's previous hospital visits." Diana's composure slipped further. "What irregularities?" "Everything's been properly documented, including the incident 3 months ago when Sophia somehow managed to accidentally burn herself with coffee that surveillance shows you holding." Dr. Anderson's voice was steel wrapped in silk. The color drained from Diana's face. "You've been watching old security footage. Standard procedure for suspected patterns of injury," Dr. Anderson replied. "Your mother's influence doesn't extend to hospital security archives." Diana's mask finally shattered. She turned to me, eyes blazing. "What did you tell them?" "She didn't have to tell us anything," Nurse Martinez interjected. "The cameras did that." "You ungrateful little." Diana stepped toward my bed, but Dr. Anderson blocked her path. "I suggest you leave now," she said quietly. "Security is already reviewing the footage and hospital administration, above your mother's level, has been notified." Diana backed toward the door, her carefully constructed world crumbling. "Mom and Dad will never believe this. They know what Sophie is like, always seeking attention, always playing the victim." "They might not have a choice but to believe it," I said, finding my voice. "Not with video evidence." Just then, our parents burst into the room, Mom already in damage control mode. "What's this about transfer care? I specifically assigned Diana to this case." "Patricia," Dr. Anderson addressed my mother, "we need to discuss the pattern of injuries your younger daughter has sustained within this hospital over the past 3 years." "Pattern? What pattern?" "Sophie's just clumsy," Dad interjected. Nurse Martinez picked up her tablet. "Would you like to view the security footage? We have quite a collection." Mom's administrative mask slipped for just a moment. "Security footage is confidential hospital property." "Yes," Dr. Anderson agreed. "Hospital property, not family property. And right now, that footage is being reviewed by the hospital board and law enforcement." The room fell silent. Diana started to speak, but Mom cut her off with a sharp gesture. "Whatever you think you saw," she began, but I couldn't stay quiet anymore. "Stop," I said, my voice stronger than I ever heard it. "Stop covering for her. Stop making excuses. The cameras saw everything. Everything you made me doubt. Everything you explained away. Everything you forced me to accept as my own fault." Dad stepped forward, his face dark. "You're going to ruin your sister's career over some misunderstandings." "Misunderstandings?" Nurse Martinez played a clip on her tablet. "Diana clearly pushing me into the elevator door's last party. Is this a misunderstanding?" My parents watched in horror as their carefully constructed narrative began to unravel on screen. Diana backed against the wall, her arrogance replaced by fear. "The hospital board meets tomorrow," Dr. Anderson announced. "I suggest you all prepare for some significant changes." As my family was escorted out, I caught a glimpse of Diana's face. Not angry anymore, but scared. For the first time, she was facing consequences, and no amount of family influence could stop what was coming. Nurse Martinez stayed with me after they left. "Are you ready for what happens next?" she asked gently. I looked at the tablet, still showing frozen images of 3 years of accidents that were anything but accidental. "Yes," I replied, "I'm ready for the truth." 6 months after the security footage revelation, I sat in the hospital boardroom, no longer a victim but a witness. The room was packed with board members, legal representatives, and hospital staff. My family sat on the opposite side, their perfect image now as fractured as the bones I'd sustained over the years. Diana's medical license had been suspended pending investigation. Mom had been forced to take administrative leave. The hospital was conducting a full audit of every case where she might have used her influence to cover up incidents. "Ms. Thompson," the board chairman addressed me, "your testimony has brought to light a disturbing pattern of abuse and institutional corruption. Do you wish to make a final statement?" I looked at my family. Mom stared at the table. Dad looked years older, and Diana finally showed genuine emotion. Fear. For 3 years, I began my voice steady. I was told I was clumsy, attention-seeking, and mentally unstable. Every injury was labeled an accident, every complaint dismissed as paranoia. But cameras don't lie, and neither will I, not anymore. Nurse Martinez, sitting beside me, squeezed my hand supportively as I continued. "My sister, Dr. Diana Thompson, systematically abused her position and access to this hospital to hurt me. My parents, particularly my mother, Patricia Thompson, used her administrative power to cover it up. They didn't just fail to protect me, they actively worked to silence me." The evidence was overwhelming. Beyond the security footage, Nurse Martinez and Dr. Anderson had uncovered dozens of buried incident reports, altered medical records, and testimonies from intimidated staff members. The pattern of corruption went deeper than anyone initially suspected. "The board has reached several decisions," the chairman announced. "Dr. Diana Thompson's medical license will be permanently revoked. Criminal charges will be pursued. Patricia Thompson's employment is terminated, and this case will be referred to the state medical board for further action." I watched my sister crumble as her career evaporated. Mom started to protest but was silenced by her lawyer's hand on her arm. Dad just looked lost, his daughter's perfect image shattered beyond repair. But the chairman wasn't finished. "Furthermore, this hospital will implement new security protocols and reporting systems for suspected abuse. No administrator, regardless of position, will have the power to override abuse investigations." He turned to me. "Ms. Thompson, your courage in coming forward has likely protected countless future victims." After the hearing, I found myself in the stairwell where it all began. Nurse Martinez found me there. "Your sister took a plea deal," she said quietly. "She'll serve time and undergo psychiatric evaluation. Your parents are facing charges for obstruction and evidence tampering." I nodded, feeling strangely peaceful. You know what's ironic? They were so worried about the family reputation. Now they've lost everything trying to protect it. "Not everything," she corrected. "You're still here, still strong, still helping others." She was right. During my recovery, I'd started working with hospital abuse survivors, using art therapy to help them process their trauma. The program was already making a difference. Dr. Anderson joined us, holding a folder. "The board approved your proposal. The new patient advocacy program will launch next month. They want you to lead it." I smiled, remembering how my family had dismissed my career choice. Now my useless art therapy degree would help protect future patients from exactly what I had endured. Later that evening, I received an unexpected visitor in my office. Dad stood awkwardly in the doorway, looking older and smaller than I remembered. "I failed you," he said simply. "We all did." I was so focused on maintaining appearances that I couldn't see what was happening to my own daughter. "Did you really not see, Dad? Or did you choose not to?" He flinched at my words but nodded. "You're right. I chose our reputation over your safety. I can't undo that, but I can tell you I'm sorry, and I can tell the truth in court." It wasn't forgiveness, not yet, but it was a start. 1 year later, I stood in front of a room full of medical students, sharing my story as part of their ethics training. The hospital had become a model for abuse prevention and reporting, and my case was now a teaching tool. "Remember," I told them, "the truth finds its way out." Security cameras caught my story, but it took people with courage, people like Nurse Martinez and Dr. Anderson, to act on what they saw. As I left the hospital that evening, I passed the security camera that had captured Diana's final attack. Its red light blinked steadily, a reminder that sometimes our protectors come in unexpected forms. My family had been built on carefully maintained appearances, but real healing, I learned, begins only when we let the truth be seen.